Hey everyone, I'm coming to you today to talk about Unit 3. We've just completed Unit 2, the literary analysis, which, by the way, I do feel like it's the hardest essay of the class. Analyzing is difficult to begin with, not to mention having to analyze a short story. So I do get it, I totally get it, but I do feel that that's the hardest essay in the class. The rest are not like that at all. You don't have to do a lot of analysis in those. So with that said, we're going to click on Unit 3 here. This is the report, okay? And you'll actually have 3 weeks to work on this particular unit. And this unit, if you'll notice, is going to be in APA format. We just came from MLA for the literary analysis and MLA for the rhetorical analysis. So now we're moving to APA documentation and APA formatting. And the reason why we're moving to APA here is because with English 112, they want us to start talking about writing in the disciplines, teaching you guys how to write papers in particular classes or field of study. Like for cultural studies, we did the rhetorical analysis, then literary analysis is for an English class or humanities. And then you have the report, which in APA format is usually found in classes that are like psychology, sociology, any type of medical field may require a report. A report is very straightforward, and the majority of this report will likely be research that will have to be cited in correct APA format. So we're going to click on this, and this is going to be a discipline. The discipline of psychology is what we're focusing on in Unit 3. All right. So you have your reading assignments. Okay, you've got your textbook, Chapter 12, Reporting Information, and then, of course, Chapter 55 is APA Style. And your textbook will give it to you really straightforward as far as how to document using APA Style. But I also have a cheat sheet and other resources that I'll show you in a few minutes in this unit. So make sure you go through all these reading assignments. You complete your textbook reading. This talks about just the different fields of psychology that this type of writing could take place. APA is known to be the American Psychological Association. They're the ones who created this type of documentation style. And then here is the library and database information should you need to access the databases, which everyone should already be able to access the databases now. You should have for the literary analysis. So make sure you go through and you complete the readings. And then you'll look at, let's go to the resources before we click on the writing. Okay, if you see here, APA documentation is explained here in a little bit of detail, but under that I've given all of these different links that will help you or assist you in writing this paper, and also the proposal that comes after this paper. So for example, here's the entire style guide that your textbook will offer too, but this is the entire style guide online. This is what an APA title page looks like, because you will have a title page with this type of essay. This shows how to format citations and format your essay. How to use Citation Machine. This is if you use internet sources and you want to have some help with citing those sources. APA citing sources. This is just the basics. Here's the APA cheat sheet. So that's a really good tool. It's much like the MLA cheat sheet that I provided for the first 2 essays. Here's a sample APA research essay, so you could use it just to look at for formatting purposes and to see how sources are cited. Here's APA PowerPoint presentation, the parts of an APA essay, how to use hanging indentation on an APA references page, sample APA reference page, because for MLA it's called a works cited page at the end, but for APA it's called reference page. So you'll see a couple name changes and differences going from MLA to APA. And there's not a whole lot of difference between MLA and APA. There's a little bit, but there's not a whole lot, so don't stress out about that. And then here's an APA title page template that you can actually just click on this and then just fill it in whenever you are writing your own essay. And then I've got this section that talks about plagiarism, how to avoid it, making sure that you cite, and especially with this type of essay, you're going to have, the majority of it is likely going to be research. So you need to make sure that you cite any information that is not your own, unless it's common knowledge. If it's common knowledge, then, like for instance, I think one of the topics is phobias, that you could choose to write about phobias. Well, one thing that's well known about a phobia is not just a fear. Fear does not equal phobia. Phobia takes it to a whole different level. And that's not something, that statement right there is not something that would need to be cited. That's common knowledge. So if you go in and start giving specific names of phobias that are not well known, like claustrophobia. I think most people know what claustrophobia is. It's the fear of closed-in spaces. Arachnophobia is a fear of spiders. Those types of things don't need to be cited because it's common knowledge. Now, when you get into some of these other types of phobias that maybe most people probably wouldn't know about, then that's when you're going to make sure that you cite. When you use statistics, when you use information that really that comes from experts that most of us would probably not know, then it's going to need to be cited. And of course, if you use something word for word, it will also need to be cited as well. So there's plagiarism links here, writing in psychology, writing in the field of psychology, and then here's the CVCC Writing Center. Okay, if you need assistance with your essays, you can click on this. I think I've actually put this link in every unit so that you can click on it and use the link in there and the documentation to be able to contact them to get some assistance. So again, these are all your resources, but this should be something that you refer to, and before you ask questions about specific things concerning APA, make sure you've looked at your resources first. All right, now let's look at the writing assignments. All right, first of all, we have, this basically says the same thing about APA documentation and formatting that it said in your resources folder. Here is a student sample report essay. This particular sample is actually one that you want to follow the formatting. This particular essay, this student wrote about the stages of grief. That's not one of your topic choices, but this student did write about this topic in one of my English 112 classes a couple years ago, and it's really good. It's not perfect, and there are, a few minor grammar and APA documentation errors in here, but you can get a really good idea about how it's formatted and written and documented here. So definitely click on this sample so you can see how this student created this paper. All right, assignment number 1. This is the APA report essay rough draft. And I may need to change these. Instead of saying rough draft, it should really just say first draft, because rough, I think a lot of people take that to mean not complete. I can pretty much just jot down something and get credit for it, but really it should be a first draft, and it should be your best possible effort, because again, your rough drafts are averaged in with your final draft grade, so you definitely want to make sure you're giving your best effort on the rough drafts. Now, the rough draft is not due until Friday. Now, if you notice, this is not a Sunday, this is a Friday, October 30th, so you've got time. And what you want to make sure that you do is that you understand that this particular essay is 3 full pages. It needs to be at least 3 full pages. You will have a title page, though, at the beginning of those 3 pages, and then you'll have a reference page at the end, which would give you a total of 5 pages. Your title page is the first page, then you'll have your 3 full pages of essay, and then you'll have your reference page at the end. But just know that the title page and reference page do not count as a part of that 3-page requirement. Okay, I wouldn't go over 4 pages. You always want to try to stay within the length requirement. Okay, if you click on the instructions, we're going to look at that for just a second. Okay, I have given a list of topics here, and these are topics in the field of psychology since we are writing an essay that is for that particular discipline. So you can write about depression, schizophrenia, emotional intelligence, phobias, PTSD, or anxiety disorder. And there may be a couple different anxiety disorders, and if you want to choose, that's fine. You can choose to be very general with your choice. You could choose to be very specific with your choice. Like, for instance, I've had students who have messaged me and says, well, if I'm writing about phobias, do I have to write about a specific phobia? No, you can if you want to, but you do not have to. It can be about phobias in general. You can discuss a couple different phobias if you would like. You could do it however you want to. But remember, you're going to be focusing on the psychological aspects of the topic that you choose, not the physical aspects. Does that make sense? What are the psychological aspects of the topic that you choose? So here's what you're going to do. Your report has to be broken into parts. Okay, you'll have your title page, and if you'll notice here is basically the instructions for your title page. And if you also go look at the student sample essay, you will see a title page there as well, and you could format yours just like it. So you have your title page, and in your book, it notes that sometimes an abstract accompanies a report essay. You will not have an abstract for this essay. I repeat, no abstract. Okay? So you'll have a title page, and then you will have your 3 pages of essay. And the parts of those 3 pages of essay, you've got your introduction, which we're used to including anyway. You've got the introduction, which will grab the reader's attention and offer an explanation of your topic, why you chose it, who or what motivated you to choose that topic. And this will be a good time to give a brief history of the topic too. And you can, believe it or not, you can use first person in the introduction and the conclusion of this essay. The body of your essay should be just informational purposes only, so therefore you would not include personal experience. You don't want to use first person. Only in the intro and then the conclusion you can use first person. The body of your report. This is where you should take a topic and then, jot down a couple questions you might have about that topic. Like, for instance, phobias. What are phobias? How are they treated? What are the effects of phobias? It could also be, who does phobias affect more, men or women? Or is there an age group that it affects more? So you ask yourself all these questions and then choose maybe 3 or 4 of them, and then turn those questions into your headers for your essay. And I'll show you in just a second what I mean. And then within your paragraphs underneath each of these headers, you're going to answer the questions basically. Okay? You'll use third person. Again, no first person within the body of your paper. In your conclusion, again, you can go back to first person. Discuss what you learned about this topic. What did you learn about this type of writing in this field? What did you learn from the research? What are some unresolved issues about this topic, if any? Again, you can use first person in this paragraph. This is APA formatted. You need to have at least 3 sources. I highly recommend you just get them from NC Live, or you could you could go online and find sources too, but if you get them from NC Live, you're guaranteed to have them cited for you. You just copy and paste. So again, it's easier to use NC Live. All sources must be cited both on your reference page and within your essay. So whatever sources you list, and I would keep it at 3 or 4 sources. I would not go any more than that for a 3-page essay. 3 or 4 sources. Then you want to make sure those 3 or 4 sources are cited within your essay as well. They have to match up. You cannot receive credit if you do this because it's considered plagiarism. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to post another video in just a few minutes right under this, because I only get 15 minutes per video in this program, and I'm going to show you, we'll go over that student sample so you can get an idea and see how this report is written. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Don't hesitate and don't wait till the due date. I hope you have a good day.